Hey everyone, it's Stephanie here, and today I have my November paper doll layout to share. This month I decided to do the movie Frozen, and I knew I wanted to do it going into the colder months, and so I figured November would be a good month to do it. So this was one of those layouts where I really could not get a doll that looked like Elsa. There really isn't any that wear the type of dress that she wears or has the braided hair like she has. So I decided to just take a winter themed doll and just kind of go with the theme of Frozen and just kind of embrace that she looks wintry and kind of put her in similar colors to Elsa and try and color her hair and stuff similar, but just kind of go with the fact that there was no way I could make a doll look exactly like her. And I really ended up liking how it turned out, so it worked out perfectly. So I went ahead and stamped her onto some text paper like I normally do. I missed her coloring her skin. I'm not sure what happened, but I just colored her skin with the normal E00 and E11 that I normally use and put a little bit of R20 onto her cheeks just to give her kind of a nice flushed look since it is she's going to be standing in the snow. And then I took some light colors of Copic markers to color her hair. That was a bit of a challenge for me, her hair, because she has very light, like straw colored hair. It's a really hard color to match up with the Copics because it's not really like a blonde yellow type hair. It's more of like a straw, really faint blonde look. So it took a little bit for me to find some markers that kind of blended together and kind of looked like her hair, but I think it ended up looking okay and looks pretty similar to her hair color. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on her dress. So I just went ahead and stamped her dress onto a piece of glitter paper, and I also stamped it onto a piece of just regular blue pattern paper. And I used archival ink to do this stamping just because the glitter paper is a little bit difficult to stamp on, and since the archival ink is permanent, it really shows the lines and stuff on that glitter paper and makes it so that you can really see it when it's stamped. So I just went ahead and cut all the pieces out. So I put the glitter piece at the bottom for her arms and the bottom area of the dress to be glittery. And then I also did her boots. I did the main part of the boot with the regular blue and then the little bit of sparkle for the top area where the fur is. And then I went ahead and colored her legs. I was undecided when I first started it if I wanted to have skin for her legs or if I wanted to like put tights on her or something, but I decided once I did all of the blue that there was quite a bit of blue happening on her and I didn't really want to put too much blue on. So I decided to just leave her leg skin color and then just put the blue on her dress and on her boots. So that's what I did. So now that I have all the pieces cut out, I'm just using my liquid glue to go ahead and adhere everything together. So I just put the main sparkly dress on her first, and then I put liquid glue onto the top piece of the dress, and then I put that on top. And I just set an acrylic block on there to kind of hold it while the glue dries, just so that it kind of sets down and dries completely flat. And then I'm going ahead and adhering her boots on. So I put the main part of the boot on first, and then I also put the furry, glittery part on the top area. So now that I have all the dress on, I'm going to go ahead and add some shading. So I'm just using a gray Copic marker. This is a C1 marker just because the blue is kind of a lighter blue color. I didn't want to go too dark with the shading. And I just went ahead and went around all the line areas and kind of added shade, little bit of shading to kind of put shadow and dimension onto her dress. And then I also completely covered her in a clear Wink of Stella glitter marker just to make her completely glittery. Then to finish off her boots, I colored in the very bottom part with a black marker just to make it look like the sole of her boot. And then I'm going to go ahead and completely cut her out since she's finished. And I just use my scissors and completely cut around all of the inked edges. And then when I'm finished, I just take a black marker and run that along the edges of the lines that I've cut out just to kind of make it look like it doesn't have any of that white core on the inside. Then I decided I wanted to add a little bit of blue to her dress to give it that ombre look, just because on Elsa's dress it's kind of an ombre, darker color that goes into a softer color on the dress. So I thought this pulled in her a little bit more just because that's what her dress does as well. I forgot when I did do that though that I had stamped with archival ink, so I had to be really careful with that Copic marker just because it doesn't work well with archival inks. It actually makes the ink bleed. So it turned out okay and I finished her dress. And now I'm working on Olaf. And for Olaf, I knew, especially after the Phantom Mask last month, that there was absolutely no way I was going to be able to draw Olaf. So I just did a Google search online for free printable Olaf coloring pages. And I found this really great one on Disney Family. I have a link to it on my blog post where I did get this little coloring page. And what I did is I just sized it down a little bit before I printed it out. And then I just printed it onto text paper. Since the dolls are on text paper, I thought it would make the layout look a little bit more cohesive with Olaf's well, not stamped, but printed on the text paper. And then once I had him all ready to go, I just used my Copic markers the same as I do normally for my dolls, and I went ahead and colored him in. So since he's mainly white, he doesn't really get a lot of color, so I just use a bunch of different gray Copic markers. I used all cool grays. I love using cool grays when it comes to coloring in snow. I just think it looks brighter and really makes the white that you're trying to depict in the snow stand out more, and I just like the look of the cool grays. So I just added shading all around his body, and I filled in his mouth area, and then I'm going to go ahead and color in his arms, and I'm going to color in the little button areas on his body. And then I'm going to darken up his eyebrows as well. I went a little bit too light when I originally colored them, and then I realized that they're actually pretty dark, almost black. So I decided to darken those up a bit. And then I'm also going to color in his hair. Before I get to his hair, I'm going to do his nose. I just picked a couple of orangey yellow colors to do the nose area. And I just started with a lighter color and then worked my way from medium to darkest and kind of pulled the darker color from the top area of his nose down towards the bottom and let it kind of just fade out as we got near the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and color his hair, like I said. And I'm not taking any caution to stay in the lines because I know I'm going to completely color him out, so it's not going to matter. So then I went ahead and cut him out. That took quite a while because his arms and his hair were a little bit difficult, but I did get it done, and I also added some black around the edges of him as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and start to assemble the layout. So I just knew I wanted them to stand in snow, so I just took some Nina Solar White cardstock, and I cut out 2 strips of it and then used the Lawn Fawn stitched edging dies to give it like a little bit of snow hills, and I layered one in the back area kind of a little bit higher and then put another one directly in front with it being a little bit lower so that they had kind of somewhere to stand. So Olaf's going to stand underneath that little snowbank and Elsa's going to stand above it. So I'm going to go ahead now and add the adhesive to both Olaf and the doll and adhere them down on the layout. So you can see there I just kind of lifted the snow to tuck Olaf's foot in there, and then I'm adhering him down and just making sure to really firmly press his arms and his hair since they are kind of thin, and I just wanted to make sure that everything was completely stuck down. And now I'm doing the same thing with Elsa. I added a bunch of adhesive to her, and I'm going ahead and adhering her down. So I'm just kind of moving her around until I have her where I want her. And I realized that if I put her where I wanted her, it looked like Olaf's hand was kind of up her skirt. So I did not want that to happen. So I just kind of lifted his arm up. It was still wet with adhesive, and I adhered her down first and then put his arm over top. So that ended up looking a little bit better. And then once I had that done, I just went ahead and added shading for the snow. So I used a very, very light blue Copic marker. I think this is B000. And I'm just running that along the edges of the snow as well as kind of randomly just drawing some little faint lines throughout the snow just to give it a little bit more texture and make it look more realistic. And now to just kind of embellish the page a little, I have these snowflakes. They're like clear snowflakes with like a little bit of a blue tint to them and a lot of sparkle. I've had these for years. I don't even remember. I feel like EK Success maybe is who made them, but I mean, I've had them for like a lot of years. So they're probably not available anymore, but you can, I mean, there's so many dies and stamps available. You could use anything that kind of resembles snowflakes. But I used these and went ahead and adhered them all around the layout. I cut some of them in half so I could have them going off of the page. And I just really like the blue and the sparkle. I like how it kind of pulled everything together on the layout. And then once I had all those adhered, I decided to also add some sequins to some random spots on the layout as well as some silver stickles. I just think sequins and stickles are such a great addition to any type of snow themed page or card because they really look like snow and they just kind of give that sparkly magical feel to a page. So I always like to add them if I can. So I just dumped a bunch out of my little sequin bowl here. I have a bit of an obsession with clear sequins, as you can see. I just kind of dump them out, pick what I want, and then just push them all back into the bowl. It's super easy, and I just like this method of storing them. And then, like I said, I just went ahead and adhered them on. And now to finish off the details on Olaf, I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle to his nose and his buttons, and then I'm also going to add some glossy accents to all 3 of his buttons just because I like the added shine that you get and a little bit of dimension once it dries. And then I'm also doing the same on Elsa's buttons. I'm adding glossy accents to all of those on her dress, and I also decided to add it to the sole of her boots just to give them kind of a shiny raised look. And then once I have that done, I'm just going to add a tiny bit of shading underneath their feet to make it look like they're standing in the snow, and then that's going to complete this month's layout. So I hope you enjoyed the theme for this month. I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you stopping by, and I will see you next month for December's paper doll layout. Thanks for watching.